with your head. Dance till you're dead. Heads will roll. Heads will roll. Heads will roll.
So in 2008, we actually got a chassis change. We went from the GD to the GR. Big styling differences. Everything's very, very different. Most stuff won't swap back and forth aside from engine. This is also where we saw the STI go to a straight hatch. We no longer had a sedan. Made a lot of people upset. Personally, I didn't like it at all at the beginning. It started to grow on me, just like when I didn't like the 06s when they came out. Still, Hawkeye is still my favorite, but the lack of an offering of a sedan for the STI rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Once the styling kind of grew on people, I think that they saw an increase in sales. The hatch thing is big outside of this country in general. The U.S. is really resistant to change. We like what we like. And personally, I've always liked sedan better. But for something that's going to be like a daily driver, everything like that, I'd get a wagon, even one of the hatches. Along those lines is the change was big, and they saw an impact on it. This was the first year change, major chassis change since 2002. So they had a decent run, with the GDs. They kind of expect people to be taken aback at first or, take right to it. The chassis itself, great. I actually really like it. I've driven a few that are tuned. They're fun. In terms of performance, the 08 WRX stayed with the same power levels and turbo. Options were still fairly similar. And it wasn't until 2009 where they actually made a big change with the WRX. They changed the turbo, and I think it was VF52 they switched to. Changed the output to 265 horsepower instead of 224. So that's a big jump, and kind of was a good and bad thing that they did. They made the WRX something that more people would want. What they did in that regard, though, was make it a little bit too close to the STI in terms of what it could do. The biggest thing with the STI is, and they've kind of always been up on that, is the suspension is what makes it a different car. Obviously that and getting a 6-speed. But when that new setup came up in 2009, basically a guy with a WRX could go out, just get a reflash, and beat an STI in a straight line. So a lot of STI drivers were upset about that. I kind of thought it was funny. It wasn't that big of a deal to me because I don't race in a straight line. If you're into drag, typically you're modifying your car to the point where that's what it does. So you're shooting for power and going straight. So that's not really going to affect you either way. They carried that up through till 2010. That's the body style in general. So from 2008 to 2010, slight variances back and forth, but nothing too major except for that turbo change in 2009 on the WRX.